Board of Selectmen meeting to order. We have one person missing from our select board, Dana's not in today. Mike's in, myself, the town administrator. Leo will be recording for the benefit of the public. We have a bunch of our police department here today, and the chief as well. Okay, we're gonna start with some old business, Mike.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes of June 12th, 2025 as amended.
Okay, I'll second Mike's motion, they look like we're well written.
I agree.
No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye. And I'll continue on with make a motion to approve the.
Go slow, we need to use some time.
To approve the non-public minutes of 8:53 on June 12th, 2025. And they are not to be sealed.
Yes, those are to be sealed.
Oh, they are to
These
be
the
sealed.
ones to be sealed, yeah.
Stand corrected.
I'll second Mike's motion and agree to seal them. There you go, Mike.
Thank you. And lastly, I'd like to approve the 9:37 non-public meetings from June 12th, 2025.
Okay, which I gave you first, Mike. So I got
And
those.
those are not to be sealed. I had it reversed.
I'll second Mike's motion and agree to, those meeting minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting minutes are taken care of. Anybody here for public comment? Nothing?
You're looking super.
We need to use some time up, come on. Okay, closing public comment.
Well, wait a minute, you gotta welcome the new chief with his new responsibilities. Congratulate him.
Emergency management.
Right, co-director.
So anyway, the chief wasn't at one of our meetings, believe it or not. So while he wasn't here, we successfully made him co-chair of the emergency management for the town of Dunbarton, along with Brandon Scola.
Okay.
Thank
you.
So you guys will jointly do it. He didn't wanna do it all by himself, and he thought with the different times you guys are on duty, it would work well to have you both there.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Okay,
So
sounds great.
I'll let, town clerk know she can draft up those appointment papers then.
Okay, thank
Brandon's been meaning to call you, so I'm not sure if he had or not yet. but-
We haven't spoken yet, but we'll hash it out.
Okay, you thank him.
I sure will.
I'm gonna go on to item number 2 on the agenda, just for a brief description here. We have a building inspector request for direction to address building permit issued under the town zoning ordinance for home occupation and current use of his business as it is today. This is a business down on, Gorm Pond Road. Mike and I have both looked at it and read it, and read all of the homeowner's letter back to our town. And we've decided to,
I think there's no action, no action needed to be taken at this point by the building department. It's for the public, he has a homegrown business, it's grown a little bit, so he has a few more vehicles, he parks them in the rear of the home. Some of his neighbors are not entirely happy with his vehicles, but they're not abandoned vehicles, they're well maintained. And there's a little noise concern there's a safety concern, because when you back up a vehicle, it makes little noises. But the thing is, it's a minimal noise, it's not loud, in fact, I like those because they're a safety issue.
you know,
So overall, I don't think there's any action, it's a homegrown business that's expanded a little bit more.
so if you give that information to Donna, so they know.
Yep.
She really just wanted to have the board of selectmen state what they wanted to do with it. I feel as though if we don't go and review all of the home businesses, we'd be, just picking somebody out of a stack, kind of going after them.
Just for your information, they only act on these things when they get complaints from
Right.
neighbors. So obviously they received a complaint, they're following up with it, they asked for a response, and they just needed to know if this has risen to the level of requiring a site plan review rather than just the home occupation, so.
Right. Okay, item number 3, we've got a legal response to clarify article number 15 regarding the error in block number listed on the warrant. We had a warrant article that had the wrong block number on there for the piece of property the town is buying at 16 acres north of the town. I thought it was fine because we also provided a map that day that showed the size of the article, and all the correct information was on that map.
to say that the verbal description was correct as presented, and the map had the correct number on it. And this was a typo error discovered by a resident, brought it to our attention, and so for, just to dot our i's and cross our t's, we wanna make sure when we put on the record that, that corrections will be made, but it has no impact upon the warrant.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the, legal requirements, back to them. Lily, and I think it comes down to whether or not, based on the language of the warrant article and any accompanying information or documents provided to the voters could have reasonably distinguished what lot they were voting for. If it was clear what was provided to the voters, that they were voting to approve the purchase of a specific lot, when the area you mentioned could have been deemed, Scrivener's era, and the town could go forward with the purchase. If not, if it's unclear the voters actually approved, then it may need another vote at a special town meeting, or at the next year's town meeting.
The Scribner's error, just to let you know, it's a scriber's error, but it's a legal term. In other words, yeah, we made a mistake with one digit on the description. And it was only made on the verbal description. On the map that was displayed to the public, it was very clear.
I'm gonna make a motion here tonight that states that, the rest of the presentation was completely clear, and the lot, was shown and justified on a map and lot number. And it is part of the registry of deeds, and that was all provided that night. So my motion will carry that it was clear enough.
I second and concur.
Motion been made and seconded, so we'll make that part of a legal motion, and let's attach that to the file, Lou.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else coming? Okay. We're gonna hop back to line item number 1 on our agenda, which will be Chief Remillard to present a letter of recognition to Sergeant Brian Tyler.
Thank you. Sergeant. Stand right there. So, we've had a lot of significant felony investigations as of late. None of them would have come to fruition without Sergeant Tyler. He was the main investigator on all of these cases, brought them all to a conclusion, whether via arrest and or conviction. So we wanted to recognize him and all of his hard work and dedication. So we reached out to the governor's office and was able to facilitate a commendation directly from the governor, Kelly Ayotte. So I'm gonna read that now. So the state of New Hampshire, by Her Excellency Kelly A. Ayotte, Governor, a commendation in the year of our Lord 2025, recognizing Sergeant Brian Tyler, June 26th of 2025. Whereas Sergeant Brian Tyler has served the town of Dunbarton with distinction since 2016, beginning as a part-time officer, transitioning to full-time in 2018, and earning promotion to sergeant in 2022. Whereas Sergeant Tyler has consistently demonstrated exceptional professionalism, skill, and dedication as a criminal investigator, often tasked with the department's most serious and complex cases. Whereas in partnership with the New Hampshire Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, Sergeant Tyler's 2022 investigation into a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children led to the arrest and 2025 federal sentencing of a registered offender to 12 years in prison. Whereas following a fatal overdose in 2024, Sergeant Tyler conducted a year-long investigation that resulted in the March 2025 arrest of an individual for sale of a controlled drug, death resulting, which is a rare and challenging charge made possible through meticulous investigative work. Whereas in 2025, Sergeant Tyler successfully identified multiple online identifiers not disclosed by a registered offender, leading to an arrest and further protecting public safety. Whereas Sergeant Tyler continues to lead felony level investigations with tireless dedication, compassion for victims and their families, and a commitment to justice. So again, this is from Kelly Ayotte, Governor of the state of New Hampshire. She hereby commends Sergeant Brian Tyler for his outstanding investigative police work and thanks him for his continued service to the people of Dunbarton and the Granite State. So congratulations. Good job.
So, together,
Come up here and take a
and
picture.
turn it around so I can
Yeah.
see it. Very
We gonna get the kids up here for a picture too?
Why not?
Absolutely.
It's gonna be hard getting them in the camera with this guy. Oh, we got their heads.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey Dave.
Want me to hide?
Hi, Mike, you just moved into the picture.
Get out of there.
Photo bomb.
Awesome.
Alright, very good.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. Very well deserved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, thanks for coming in.
Okay, we haven't really been home yet, so hi, bye, everybody.
Take care. Thanks for coming, guys.
And the night of running.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Do you want that box to carry that home, or?
Yeah, you want this, just,
Should we give him the family discount at the school? Yeah, they do.
Have a good night, guys.
too, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Okay. That one. All right, the next thing on the agenda, we have an inspection update from the elevator located at 104 School Street.
I just wanna say, before you get to the update, I just wanna
Okay.
say, thank you to Lean for doing, kudos to her, because she stayed on top of it. Because she realizes that if we had to close that building, there would have been a major upset to many of the activities that that building. So thank you, Lean, for staying on top of it.
Yeah. So we have the inspection report now, and, did the state come back out, is
They
that
did,
scheduled?
yeah, on Tuesday at 3:30, they came back to re-inspect it and passed.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you very much for following up on that and getting that done, and most of it was under warranty, right?
The parts were, just have to pay for the labor, so that was a good.
Okay, great, yeah, thank you for staying on that. We also have a, update from NHMA, New Hampshire. H2 for meals and room revenue distribution. It looks like we're asking municipal officials to immediately contact the members of the committee conference for HB2, as well as their local senators and representatives to tell them House position downshifts cost the cities and towns plain and simple and leave the 30% share alone. So that notice came out to us during this last week. Have we addressed that at all, Lean?
Well, the outcome of this House bill is that it's going to stay the same,
Okay,
so there will not be any change.
alright, that's great.
The percentages will not change, but so we could actually get, I mean, it's still always a moving target, based
Right,
on, how many
right.
Massachusetts people come up.
And the Canadians.
In the Canadian, well, we're gonna lose. And Canadians too.
Alright, we also have a notice of decisions on the planning board, for 2-lot subdivision. That decision is, the Catherine Lane lot that we just talked about. That was a one-night, subdivision. I was present at the meeting in case they had any questions. We did have a driveway permit from the state, called out and in place, so the only two stipulations were the standard, planning board stipulations at the end of a subdivision, as well as monumentation and the driveway permit from the state, which should be no problem, so we go ahead. I've asked Jacques to contact Maria Dodler and prepare the proper deeds for the new deeds for both parcels. And when she has those done and these monuments are in place, we can go ahead and finish our closing.
Yeah, the miler and get it
Yeah.
recorded, yep.
So that's the notice of decision on that. And Dana and I were both there, and at that meeting, I thanked the Lanes not only for their conservation easement, because that was of course
Huge.
huge, and they didn't get any money back from the town and having that conservation easement, so that was a big donation from her. And also thank him for using the forethought to cut this 16 acres out back from the beginning and stick with it. And I'm not sure if it's 6 or 7 years, but a long period of time to hold through with the same thought and see it through, so that was,
Very nice.
I thanked him for it, and that was, seemed to went a whole long way, everybody clapped in the room for it.
I think as the one who first started the whole discussion was Bob Martell,
Yeah.
Selectman. He started the
right.
start, so kudos to Bob for starting it off.
Okay, we have an email from Chris Remillard regarding disorderly conduct of a residence and how the law applies to public employees. That notice was given to our town administrator by Chris. And, it shows what the police can do and can't do in different situations. And they did a follow-up from this office, earlier this week when somebody came in and was not being, very nice to our townspeople. I'll leave it at that. So there was a follow-up at the residence and, we're gonna keep an eye on that.
Correct.
Okay. We have a letter here, to Standard Power to termination of service. We sent this letter off because they were not responding to us and getting new pricing up to us. They did respond back and say that, the memorandum of understanding from Standard Power, they would actually like to, do business with us again. Dana's out of town right now. When he gets back, we'll discuss getting a second option from them. But the person that worked for them works for a new company now, which we are in the process of getting pricing back from them. So, that being said, we'll see what Dana says and we'll go
Work
from
in
there.
progress, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move on to mailbox items now. All right, it was asked, this was continued from 6/12/25. Review current sign ordinance, adopt March 8th, 1966. Continue until a full board is present. So we are gonna do that. We'll wait for Dana to be back in place, and we will review that sign ordinance at that time. I know he had some input on it. I had asked Alan Bryan, if you remember at our last meeting, to give me information. Alan Byron, I wanna make sure I say it right. On hearing aid loop system that works around the building. Up there, and you can see the information shows that they run a loop around and people can hear within the building. I'm not sure, he gave us also, I think, a company that would supply this.
He did not, he just, in that letter that's in the envelope is the link to the website, which is what they sell, which is the attached
Okay.
image.
Do you think you could maybe call them and see if there's a current vendor that we could maybe get?
Gets on in here?
Yeah, have him
Okay.
explain a system to us, and if it's, he said it's very inexpensive and works very well. I will say, we had the planning board meeting up there, and I wanna say I counted 38 or 42 people, something like that. They used the microphones, and sometimes people didn't use the microphones, like Donna didn't care to use the microphone. When the meeting was run properly, when only one person was talking, whether they used the microphone or not, you could hear from a good distance away from where they were speaking. Nice and clear. As soon as they took a break and multiple conversations started, you couldn't hear yourself think. You were talking over the next guy and it was echoing throughout the room. So my thought is, the meetings that are complaining, there are multiple people talking at one time and they can't understand it. And it happened like, it was like a light switch went off in my head when I was at the meeting.
Yeah.
Cause I'm looking around and I'm asking other people, older people. I sat next to Mrs. Lane. Are you having any trouble hearing? Not at all. As soon as the meeting took a break, a recess between the two applicants, you could not understand anything that was being said. whether people were close to you or far away. The conversations were all getting mixed
So
together.
it's probably imperative on the chairman or the meeting facilitator to keep control of the meeting.
Yeah,
Can I just say, I don't think it's the meetings themselves, I think it's the organizations that are using
That's
the
what I'm talking
facility,
about.
and everyone's talking, so they're
that's
not,
exactly.
That's
Doing
what I'm
any-
saying, the chair's gonna have to maintain the order.
well, for the garden club and for the Boy Scouts and
That's
all
right.
those
Oh, yeah.
organizations.
So-
They have to find a way,
To facilitate the meeting, to make it work.
Right.
So it's my recommendation, as we give out these applications, to let them know,
yep,
to keep order. Whether you use the microphones or not, did not seem to matter. As long as one person was speaking, it was very clear. As soon as multiple conversations went on, even two conversations, it was very hard to hear one.
which makes sense, yeah.
So I think the garden club, for one, there's a lot of people maybe talking and having side discussions. You cannot hear whatsoever. They need to be very clear on that, and I think if they run their meetings right, I think it's no problem up there. But we will look into this,
For the hearing aids.
yeah,
I'll call the vendor.
and it's something we should do for elderly
If it's
people.
low cost, I have no problem, I mean, it
Yeah.
helps us with the, as a aid for people who have hearing loss.
Yeah, the same as a handicap,
Exactly.
elevator does, so, let's look into it. Lean, while I'm thinking of it, can you put a note down to, follow up with JR for the pricing of the
Yep.
heat and AC that we discussed over there?
This was,
Yeah, up here, just so I can, keep on top of it. And also, just while I'm thinking of it, I know Dana, we can let Dana come back, but let's do a follow-up on the solar panels.
Yep.
I know you have been doing that anyway, but it's getting down to the nitty-gritty here, before we lose summer, we may have to act upon some things. Just as mental notes before we forget them.
Agreed.
Okay, next thing on the agenda. There's a notice that Lean is sending out to all departments and email distribution. Notice dates the fire extinguishers scheduled for Wednesday, July 9th. Thanks for sending that out, Lean.
Yep.
Okay, there's an email here from a resident recognizing an employee at the transfer station, Greg Rule. Read the email. Nice big font for me. Hi, I wanted to let the selectmen know how pleased we were with Greg at the transfer station. He's very polite, so helpful whenever we ask a question. He is always willing to help whenever we visit the station and goes out of his way to assist. Good hard workers like Greg are an asset to the town, and he deserves recognition. Jan and Janice Van Bogart. It's nice to see, I think all of us in the room here have also seen that from Greg. Sometimes I think he works a little too hard.
sometimes, but the thing is, I was pleasantly surprised when he came over and helped me unload my vehicle.
Yeah,
And it was, that was nice, very nice.
What I'd like to do is send out a little memo with a copy of that email, so
Yeah,
that
that'd be
he
good.
is, and tell him that it'll be put in his personnel file.
Yes,
that'd be great. Yeah, you would attach it to his paycheck if you want. And, he must be thinking you're getting older.
hey,
I had to throw that in there.
don't take your hat off, Dave.
I know. That's why I leave it on. Alright, we have a notice from MVOH, what is that? Informing the town that they're closing their
Merrimack
business.
Valley Occupational Health, that's where we
Okay.
send our employees for
Oh,
physicals. And that's gonna be a problem, we're gonna have to,
yeah, cause they do take care of us very well.
they do our drug testing too, so I'm gonna be researching some other.
Can NHMA have some resources for us there?
Well, we're gonna reach out to them first,
Yeah.
and then, I'm gonna reach out to our drug DISA, company that's, we're a member of, and find out if they have other licensed individuals that we
Vendors,
could.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cause they always did take them very fast for us.
they did.
Now, there are some other, companies that do the DOT physicals that may also be able to do regular physicals
That's what I
fast.
wanna look into.
Yeah. Okay. That's sad to see, cause, they were a good resource for us.
Yeah.
They would get back to us within just a couple of days and we could hire somebody up. Okay, we talked about this earlier tonight, continued from 6/12/25. Appointment for emergency management, town clerk has not heard confirmation from both Chief Scoglin and Remillard, for shared appointments in this position.
Go now.
Can you let them know that they do need to get a hold of her? They might
Well,
not
I
be
have,
aware of
she
it.
has to write up her appointments, we'll have them for the next meeting, and then they
Okay.
can just go in.
So you'll let her know?
Yeah.
They both did give us a heads up on that, so that's good. Before I forget, I would also like to look back and see how long John Wigan has been this director. I was reminded when I read this meeting minutes, but I think we should send him out a recognition, thank you for it. Being a director for however many years, just for this, from the select,
That's fine. I have no discrimination.
no luncheon, nothing fancy, just a little letter, you know, thank you.
We could start a generator on his behalf.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing, we have an application for employment, looking for part-time work, CDL, familiar with yard and trucking. I talked to Woody today, he is gonna put the sign back out for help wanted, we had one of our workers at the transfer station say it was too physical for him, and we have another worker there, this week getting a shot in the arm, cortisone shot to keep working. So, they believe that they will be back, but it is strenuous working with this heat stuff. For people that are older, it is taking their.
With a
its toll.
CDL, can he drive a vehicle?
He can,
I mean,
probably at least move it in the yard,
Okay,
and he probably could move it. This individual is not willing to work any weekends, so
but could he do hauling for us?
he may be able to.
You know, what I would consider is, remember we used to pay, one of the selectmen, to do hauling because he had the appropriate license.
Yeah.
Did you interview the gentleman yet? If you interview him, I would keep that in your back pocket, saying if he doesn't wanna work the regular transfer station, we could at least get him on retainer for hauling, and we pay a good rate for hauling.
Yeah,
And the thing is, if anything, the shortcoming, if anything, is, you know, we can have a manager down there, but if we get a hauler, we're golden, if we get someone who can haul.
And right now, we're having a lien on the highway department, so when he's called to do a haul, he's taken away from.
Right, so Dave, I just suggest that to you, is keep that in, as you interview him.
yeah,
I think, it's a different rate of pay too.
okay, we'll do that, so we are gonna interview this guy when Woody's back, if you wanna put this, back in Woody's mailbox.
Okay.
In fact, I think a lot of people may jump at that, that we pay well for the hauling part,
Yeah,
because it's a commodity.
yeah, the only thing is, we don't wanna just let anybody use our truck, and both Pete and
Agreed.
Justin really knew the truck well, so.
Exactly, it may take a little time to get familiarized.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But yeah, I think that, him not willing to work Saturdays, whereas Saturdays are where we need coverage for vacations,
True, but
is a little tough.
I think he could fulfill the other niche, where we don't have to pay someone to come in and haul for us.
At least give us an option.
Yeah, and I think, my opinion, I think would jump with that opportunity once he is what we pay.
We have a wetlands
For the
permit,
public, we pay well for our hauling.
yeah, wetlands permit application. There's new road construction on Twist Hill Road, and that's where that is, and that's part of the subdivision that's going on.
Yeah, it's a fairly large document, in case you guys wanna read it, the town clerk just left a copy in my office.
I was at the, planning
So,
board
yeah.
meeting and reviewed it pretty well at that hearing, so I'm good with it. All of the water from that property seems to be going to the south, and most of the people that were complaining at that meeting live to the north, so. That's it for mailbox, I'm gonna open up for public comment. Okay, we're good for public comment, bring it back to the town administrator, are you kidding me? And bring it back to the other selectman, Mike,
I have nothing.
and I have nothing, so we're gonna,
I make a motion to adjourn.
at 7:30. Wow,
Sorry, Dana.
high five, we